Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle from A Step Ahead. Welcome to the 12th episode of Hot Topics, where we talk real talk about things that are happening in employment, education, social services, physical health, mental health, finance, or anything else that is very steamy. So we have a repeat guest today. Her name is Samantha Miller, and she is here to talk about our hot topic for today, which is homeschooling, right? I know homeschooling is a definite hot topic now in this um, sort of post-COVID era. So she's gonna help me with that conversation. So I'm just gonna give you a reminder of who Samantha is. So Samantha is a wellness coach and an energy healer in Tucson, Arizona. A former educator herself, she is now running her online business so that she can be home to care for and homeschool her child who has multiple special needs diagnoses, which we will go into today. So, Samantha, welcome back to Hot Topics.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Awesome, awesome. So, in our last interview, which is now online for our viewers, we went into homeschooling and why you chose to homeschool and all that jazz. We're just gonna kind of recap that to start off. So could you please get into your homeschooling story?
Absolutely. So, for our family, homeschooling was the best option. My child, as you mentioned, has several different diagnoses. She's very neurodiverse, I guess they would say. And so, public schooling just wasn't really the best learning environment for her. Um, she wasn't able to focus well on her studies. She had a lot of anxiety in the classroom and around peers, and that just she put her into kind of like a survival mode. And honestly, when you're in survival mode, you can't really learn. So she wasn't being able to perform to the best of her abilities because she was just trying to get through the day and get home. So when COVID hit and schools went online anyway, we decided to finish up her last year at public school that was online, for second grade. And then she started third grade with homeschool last year instead of going back into the public part. We found that what the school was supplying for online learning, which is what they continued to do last year, is the online learning for the public school in our area, but it didn't really work for her learning needs and her learning style. So we wanted something where she would really be able to excel and, perform her best. My husband and I were both working from home. I had my home business, and so I had the flexibility, and I was able to, kind of start that program. And she has been absolutely flourishing in school. This is her second year of starting completely homeschool in the new program that we're using, and it has been fantastic for her.
Awesome. So how did homeschooling come up? What was the conversation? Did a friend tell you about it? Did you read about it somewhere? How did it come up for you?
Yeah, homeschooling is actually something that I've always wanted to do for her. Um, just because I have a background in education, doing early childhood and doing like elementary school special ed, and so I've always wanted to kind of individualize her learning for her. I enjoy and appreciate the public education system, but there are aspects of it that never hit completely home for me. Like, I'm not a big fan of standardized testing. I know that's not going to be completely popular for everybody to hear, but that's what it is for our family. And so we always wanted to do homeschooling, but we never thought that we would have the ability to do it. So when that came around, when we realized we might actually be able to do this for her, I started doing a lot of research into what was available for different homeschooling programs to see what could work the best, and to see if it really was an option for us or not. Because I know, um, for my child anyway, and kind of how things stand for us, she does not learn best from her parents. She learns better from other people. So being able to find the right fit and the right program took a lot of time and a lot of research, but we were able to do it. And so it's been absolutely great.
Awesome. So what I know, I know you're in Arizona, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So how I mean, the process I know is different in every state, but in your state, how does it work in terms of getting started, the paperwork, all that
Yeah.
jazz?
For our state, it's actually one of the easier states. I know that some of them have you kind of jump through hoops and do a whole lot of paperwork and continue to do a lot of paperwork throughout the school year. But for Arizona, we had to get an affidavit form from the school district, and we were just able to download that online, fill it out, and have it notarized, send it back. And that was it. That was all the paperwork that we had to do just to show that, yes, we are going to be providing education for our child, and that we are responsible for making sure that she, learns the basics in school, during her time of homeschooling with us. And that was all of the paperwork that we had to do. We didn't even have to show proof of what program we were using or any of that. So it was really easy for Arizona.
Lucky you.
I know.
So how does it you were well, now that you're homeschooling, you mentioned before about there's an online program that your daughter is using. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. So when I was researching the programs, obviously there are a ton where you can buy books and get the different curriculum to do at home where the parent is the teacher. But again, that style just would not work well for her learning style. So I was able to find a program that is online based. So she logs in each day. I go through, there's a syllabus for each class. So I go through and assign what she's supposed to be doing for which course each day. And she goes on, and they have teachers that have pre recorded lessons. So there's little videos that are usually around like 5 to 10 minutes long or so, which is great for her attention span and her learning style. She learns best through videos, and she learns best in small chunks. So this has been an absolute dream. So she goes and watches the little video, and then after that little video clip, they have questions where she needs to answer a certain percentage correct in order to show that she has mastered that concept. And if she does not show that she's reached mastery, then she goes in and she does more videos and further, lessons and more detail until she is able to show that she understands, and then she can move on from there.
So how does it work in terms of standardized testing or what methods are there to measure her ability to move on to the next grade?
So there are no standardized tests. And soapbox that I won't go on right now, but so they don't have the standardized tests, but they have the set curriculum for each grade. So there is fourth grade math, there's fourth grade science, fourth grade social studies, and so on. And so each of those courses is already set out to cover specific topics that nationwide is kind of expected that all children in fourth grade will learn these abilities. Um, so we go through that, and then it's at her own pace. So if she's able to, if she loves a course and flies right through it, she can finish it quickly and then she's done with that one. And then we have the option to move on to the next grade or just, be done for a little while. Or if a course takes her longer, and she's not able to complete it in time, then we have the option of doing, okay, do we do a little bit of work on Saturdays? Do we go a little bit farther into the summer with this? The schedule is entirely up to us um, for when she does her work, and however long it takes her to complete that grade is how long it takes.
Okay. So it's up to her in terms of, how far along that she goes.
Mhm.
Like how much that she can accomplish within a predetermined set of skills per grade.
Right, yeah, and like I said, I go through the syllabus and try to assign, ones for each day, um, so that we can I try to stay in pace with what the school system is doing, make sure that she has, weeks off here and there for just because everybody needs a break. It's really important just to have that time away and rest and do something different for a little while and kind of recharge. Um, so we try to make sure that she has, different weeks of vacation throughout the year and the summer vacation. But it's really great to have that flexibility, especially in her case, because sometimes she will be completely into a course and just go right through it and not want to stop. But sometimes she also has days where, mental health is not great on that day, focus is not happening that day, and to push schoolwork on a day when you're not able to perform at your best, um, it would just leads to meltdowns. And there's number one, there's no need to do that, especially in this homeschool environment. We can kind of tailor her school day and tailor her school activities towards where she's at with functioning for that day. Um, and if you push a kid to the limit and they're melting down and they're just going into this really dark space, they're not learning anything. So what good does that do? So it's been really great for that too.
Awesome, awesome. So what about what's my thought? So how did you learn about the online program? You just happen to find it and was a trial and error? How did you find out about this program?
Yeah, I am. Like I said, I was doing a lot of research. So I knew that she learned best from videos. And I had, like, through the grapevines, kind of heard little bits that there might be options that aren't just sitting and looking at papers all day. Um, so I just looked around for homeschool versions that are online. And I checked a bunch of them out because there's a lot of different options, and found one that seemed to kind of fit what we were wanting for her and what we felt like would do really well for her, and for our family's style, I guess, because my husband's working full time from home, I'm running a business as well, and just making sure that she's able to get everything she needs in the time frame that works for us. So this system really looked like it fit the bill, and then it offered a 7-day free trial. So even though the school year hadn't started yet, it was the middle of summer, and we decided that we were really wanting to look into homeschooling, found this one, and I had her do the 7-day trial just to see if it worked for her, and she loved it. And that's when we were able to decide that we were going to do this version instead of going back to regular school.
Awesome. Awesome. So there's several myths and misconceptions about homeschooling, and I'd like to address some of those with you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'll share some, and you just say whatever comes to mind, right? So one myth is the idea of socialization, right? So kids who are homeschooled, they're not really socializing with their peers since like public schools and private schools and the institutionalized system, it's easy for them to socialize because that's how it's structured. But with homeschooling, it's since it's not that structured, um, or there's not really interaction with their peers. Can you talk about that?
Yes, and that is understandably a concern for a lot of people because, the children aren't in big groups of other kids all the time. But what we found is that it actually opens us up for more and more intentional interactions with children. Um, so she has a group of friends that she stays in touch with. They practice their writing and typing. They'll, pen pal each other. They'll email each other, which they're getting that educational aspect too. And then we meet up in parks and we play. We can do that midday when other kids are at school, and so there's not huge crowds. We also are able to get her into activities with other homeschooling families that happen. So there's lots of activities specific for homeschool families um, within your area. So I know, specific for my area, I've been able to find those, but even living in other states before we were homeschooling, I know that those are available there too. So, meetups in different parks, doing different activities. Um, and we've also been able to look into getting her into activities like rock climbing, or doing tennis or music lessons, or just a bunch of different things are available when your schedule is a little bit more freed up. And we found, our child has a lot of social anxiety issues, and so being able to be intentional with where we meet up with people, and when we do, has been a huge help so that she can comfortably socialize and not feel the peer pressure of needing to be or look or act a certain way as she did when she was in the public school system and just kind of thrown in with everybody. So it's been very positive.
Awesome. Awesome. There's one for college, but I guess that wouldn't apply. No, at least not yet. Um, to your daughter. But for this one here, it's there's a lot of coddling, I guess, because your daughter is at home, so it's sort of she gets to like do whatever she wants because she's at home, and as opposed to and then mom's the teacher, or and the mom's always around, and so what do you say to that?
I can see where people would definitely think that, but what we've done in our family is we've always put an emphasis on um, her learning how to be an independent person. And so it's set up so that she knows what is expected each day, and she is required to follow those expectations. We're there to help, but it's very much like, all right, now I have my teacher hat on, all right, now I'm mom hat when school's all done. um, and it's worked out really well, so I wouldn't say that there's coddling going on. I feel like she's in an environment where she is able to learn independence. She's able to, focus on various life skills and learn from it, different things throughout the day that she's interested in, where she can also get those educational needs met.
Awesome. All right, so what about this one about being stuck at home? They're inside the house all day. They get to watch TV, play video games. They get to go swimming and go to the pool. So what do you say to that? That they're homebound.
I'd say it's pretty 50-50 for us, but it's also during the time of COVID. So we're pretty homebound anyway, because we have to be really careful for our family's health needs. Um, but so yeah, she gets to swim during the day. If she's needing a muscle movement break, if you saw the other video, she has ADHD as well. So she does need to get up and move around a lot. So she has a trampoline, and anytime she can go jump on the trampoline, and she knows set a timer for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, jump around and then come back in. Sometimes, if it's been a really big day and she is really needing that sensory input, we'll take 20 minutes and we'll go swim, and then we'll come back and do the work again. But there is not TV. There's no video games. There's none of that. I mean, some families might allow it, but we don't. You have your set responsibilities for the day. You have to get up and take care of your pets. You have to take care of yourself. You have to do your schooling. And then after all of that is done, then maybe you get a little bit of time on those things. We do try to be very mindful about how much we're in the house and find times to get out and work on life skills outside of the house, especially with her social anxiety and different communication issues. We're really working on coming out of her shell a little bit and being able to communicate with other people and be able to function in you know, normal people environment, like out and about in stores and all of that. And that's just like a life skill that we've always had for her, and we're continuing it through homeschooling. So we do try to go out to stores and she helps me with the shopping. So, we're reading the labels, we're doing the math, we're communicating our needs with people, which is a big challenge for her. And we're going out on hikes when it's nice weather. And just getting out in a lot of different ways because we don't want to just be stuck home. That's not great for development at all.
Well, to kind of piggyback off of that, your daughter's using an online program. So
Mhm.
isn't she in front of a computer for 4, 5, 6 hours a day?
It's actually she's able to get her schooling done in about 2.5 hours, 3 hours on a hard day when it takes us a little bit longer. Um, because she is so focused on it and doesn't have all of the distractions. Even with breaks in between classes, she's able to get it done pretty quickly. Um, so that has been great. So it's only a couple hours a day, but because of that, we're also trying to minimize other screen time um, beyond that. So she's not, just on TV all day, and we have plenty of time to work in the other outings and all of the other aspects that we're working on with her as well.
Okay. And last myth I'll throw at you is parents are not qualified to be teachers. Um, so what do you say to that?
It can be really hard. I think there is a lot of help out there. There's a lot of different programs that set you up for success. So, if you're not a certified teacher, it's okay. You can choose a program where you have the curriculum, kind of made up for you, or you can find the help through so many different resources to make sure that what you are teaching your child is done in the best way possible. But then also at the same time, parents know their children. So they'll have an idea as to when they need to adapt something in order to meet their child's needs and really be able to explain something the way that their child understands. So they're not alone in it.
Awesome. Well, another, I guess, I don't know if it's a myth, but my I guess my concern about homeschooling is that like the parents have to have a certain type of lifestyle. Like it's not for parents that um have a 9 to 5 job or something like that. Or, it's the parents that tend to work from home, or maybe there's an income disparity in that, you can afford to do homeschooling because you have a higher income level. So I'm just wondering about what you think about that. Like, in order for you to partake in homeschooling, you need to have a certain type of lifestyle.
Absolutely. So as far as the cost thing, there are many, like it doesn't need to cost anything. You can decide on your curriculum yourself. There are lots of people that are able to do that on their own without it, having a big financial burden. The one that we've chosen to do is $25 a month. And so, that's something that we're able to do. We've been very lucky for that. As far as the lifestyle and the hours, it's definitely been a huge help that I have a very flexible schedule so that I am able to be there and support her. And on my busy days, I try to schedule my super busy times around when my husband is available to help her. So, we can kind of tag team a little bit. But I know lots of families do homeschool pods. So they'll team up with other families and use the same curriculum. Usually their children are in the same or at least a similar grade. And so, one family will take the kids for one day or certain hours, and they'll kind of like go between houses based on what those family schedules are. So the kids are getting the homeschool experience, a little bit more socialization, and the families don't have to sacrifice their jobs and their income in order to make it happen for them.
Right, but what about the essential workers? What about uh, like nurses and doctors and I mean, unless they hire somebody, which I'm sure happens often, but if you're going to be away for most of the day, it might be tough for people that have those kinds of jobs to be able to homeschool. And I mean, again, unless they hire somebody and if they can afford to hire somebody, but for those who choose not to and they're essential workers, I can see that being a little bit difficult.
Yeah, yeah, I can too, definitely. Excuse me. It's another one of those things where as parents, you have to decide what is right for you and your family. And there's a lot of options, and homeschooling isn't for everybody, just like public school isn't for everybody. So you can look around all the different options. There's so many different ones, and see if something would fit for your needs and your schedule. Um, and hopefully be able to find something that would work best for what you're wanting for your child.
That's fair. Fair point. So there are homeschool co-ops. Are you familiar with those?
Yes, I've heard about those a little bit.
Have you thought
um
about
we're
joining?
different.
Have you thought about joining
We
a co-op?
we haven't. um I think with our situation right now, where she learns best kind of in her own space on her own time, um with needing to be careful with all that's going on health wise as well in the world, and needing to be very cautious of that, and just everything else that kind of is my child and her way of learning and being each day. They didn't really provide the flexibility or any of that we were needing for her, so just kind of doing it on our own is what fit best for us.
All right. Awesome. 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 So do you see yourself continuing homeschooling in the near future?
We do. I often will ask her because she always has the option. And it's the other thing is the beginning of the school year before that comes, we give her the option, what do you want to do? And she's determined to homeschool all the way up through college. So I mean, we'll see how things go in the future for that. But I think for now, homeschooling and using this program is the best thing for her, in order to be able to stay on track and really, learn her best and do her best in a learning environment.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So we're just about to wrap it up here. So do you have any advice for the people listening to this episode right now? Maybe they're considering homeschooling, or maybe they have their doubts, or, maybe there's the haters out there. So do you have any advice for anyone watching right now?
Yeah. just know that it's not always one thing. And if you're wondering if it's right for you and you're not sure about it, look around, do a lot of research. There's so many different resources. There are so many different ways of homeschooling. It's not cookie cutter. It's not all, um, you know, granola and stuck at home all the time. It's a lot of different things, and it can be whatever you're needing it to be. So just look around. There's also a ton of groups for homeschooling support on Facebook and other places like that too, where you can go and ask a bunch of questions and see, through it are able to help you with whatever your situation is at the time.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so Samantha, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. And for you, the viewers, Samantha is a wellness coach, a Reiki master, and a crystal healer. She runs her businesses through Instagram. So she has two Instagram accounts. One is called Sam underscore on the bright side. That is for wellness coaching and special needs parenting. And the other one is Samantha Miller Energy Healing, all one word. And that is for energy healing and wellness coaching. So, of course, all this information will be provided to you in the description. So, Samantha is passionate about helping people, especially busy and overwhelmed parents, feel balanced and well through a holistic approach and relearn how to make themselves a priority again. So, if you are interested in Samantha's services, please check out her Instagram pages. And you guys, thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of Hot Topics. Please check out our YouTube channel for more videos and clips. And don't forget to subscribe. And also, you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So please look us up and follow. Thank you guys for joining us today. And tune in next time for the next episode of Hot Topics. Signing off. Bye.